Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a health-based hypnosis session that was created for a client that I've been working with for a few months now. And if you're a regular listener to the show, you might have noticed that some of the episodes every now and then relate to tumors and cancer treatment. And a good few months ago, maybe 6-7 months ago, I had Gary Coles on my show, who is one of the leading hypnotherapists relating to oncology. And we had a good conversation about how hypnosis can help people going through the cancer journey, whether that's through attempted recovery, treatment, holistic approaches, whatever it might be. And I'm a big believer of listening to experts. And Gary's point was that there is a lot of evidence to say that hypnosis helps with emotional changes, to feel positive, to deal with difficult news like a cancer diagnosis. But there isn't that much evidence to show that hypnosis can actually cure or help the actual tumors themselves. As a result of recording that episode, a lady, one of the listeners to the show, who had been diagnosed with breast cancer, reached out to me and said, look, I'm not expecting hypnosis to cure me. I just want really empowering, useful, positive hypnosis sessions to help me on my journey. And because I felt that the expectations were in line, I certainly didn't feel that she was expecting hypnosis to make the tumor disappear, and that it was all in line with this feeling of being empowered on a healing journey. That was the reason I took that client on. And something worth sharing, because you might have heard elements of this, is that client had an MRI to scan for the tumor. And the very last episode I did was on this quantum healing idea of going into a black hole, seeing different realities and experiencing all the different realities. And some of those realities were good news because she hadn't had the MRI results yet. So because that's been in the past and I've kind of communicated that already, I wanted to share that she did get the MRI results, and the size of the tumor in her breast was reduced by more than 50%, about 50%. It was half gone. So even though hypnosis is not designed to cure cancer in any way, it certainly can help with the cancer journey. So I thought I'd share that kind of positive news if you're a regular listener to the show. Now, the client that I was working with in this session, the same client, had a calcified duct blocked through the calcification. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is a couple of metaphors that relate to natural calcification in nature. And there's a couple of examples. When a coral reef has an excess amount of calcium, it almost turns white. Quite often, coral is quite colourful and flexible, but when it calcifies, it kind of goes rock solid, almost like a stone. So you're going to hear that metaphor and the consequence of a calcified bit of coral. And the other calcification that happens in nature is stalactites and stalagmites. These are these kind of pointy things on the roof and floor of caves. And again, that gets used because it's taking this idea of calcification and taking it outside of the body and making it something almost tangible and visceral and real. And in each case, the client takes on the role of doing something with things that naturally break down the calcification process. Generally, calcification is an alkaline substance, so acids tend to reduce that. Things like citric acid or vinegar tends to have an impact on that. So that's what you're going to hear in this session. Very powerful, empowering, positive suggestions linked to the idea of decalcification. And I can appreciate this is a very, very niche thing. There isn't going to be many of you listening to this thinking, oh, I want to decalcify my body. But having a good balance of calcium in the body is very important. Where calcification can cause issues isn't just blocking ducts. It's also in things like kidney stones, or the pineal gland can become calcified. And there's arteries, for example, that can become calcified. So even if you just want to improve your overall health, or just go on a little hypnosis session within your imagination that takes you underwater, where most of this is set. And actually the client had experience of seeing a reef near Belize. And many years ago, I think I did a session based on the Great Hole, which is actually this kind of very deep sea cave, actually in the middle of the Belize Reef. So when I saw the picture of that, I kind of had a flashback of an earlier hypnosis session. Very metaphorical, very peaceful, because it involves reefs and dolphins and caves and that kind of stuff. And generally designed to promote good health. If you're finding this because you've been searching for decalcification, you'll get even more value from it. And if you want something more bespoke, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule that free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a slow, long breath of gratitude. As you breathe in that gratitude, feel it ripple from that inward breath to every cell in your body. And as you exhale, completely relax your eyelids and just feel that tension is leaving your body in that outward breath. And the deeper you breathe, the more grateful you feel. And the longer you exhale, the more that even echoes of stress, tension, doubts and fears just start to leave your body in that outward breath. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And I wonder where you'll notice that deep feeling of relaxation first. Maybe the jaw, maybe around your nostrils as you breathe in and breathe out. Maybe the neck, the shoulders, as you just feel a wonderful sensation of release. As your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine an antique globe. Maybe the kind of globe that would be on an axis, perhaps made of brass. Maybe it's a heavy, globe at an angle, and just imagine the texture of that globe as you gently move the globe around until you start looking at the continent of South America. I want you to shift your eyes to the north of that continent and to notice tiny, tiny islands just off the coast. I want you to think of a specific island close to a barrier reef. Not the Australian Great Barrier Reef, but the barrier reef of Belize. And you could look at that tiny island there on that globe and start to imagine you are floating down from the sky above, gently drifting down to a remote island, perhaps just a sandbank off the coast of Belize, and perhaps even being able to see the outline of the reef below the seawater. And when it feels like you can imagine touching down on that sandbank there by the reef, let me know by nodding your head. And of course, this is just your imagination. And in your imagination, not only can you float down from the sky, but you can breathe deep underwater. So just imagine you're wearing whatever clothing you would want to wear to explore the reef below. And then submerge yourself in the water. I want you to feel the temperature of the water is enhancing your alertness and is conducive to health. And like any temperature, your body adapts and adjusts until it feels completely normal. I want you to imagine not only can you breathe underwater, but you can see perfectly underwater. I want you to imagine you're seeing the reef in all its glory, the bright colors. I want you to see the reef as a self-cleansing ecosystem. But when there is a problem in the reef itself adapts. I want you to imagine there is a part of the reef that became calcified. It almost seemed like it was fossilized. No longer the bright colors of the reef, but almost more looking like stone. But I want you to imagine that the ecosystem of the reef naturally adapts, and that part of the reef simply breaks off, keeping the ecosystem of the reef healthy and safe. Imagine seeing beautiful fish. But I want you to imagine seeing a sea mammal, maybe a porpoise, maybe a dolphin or a whale. Explore the reef. And I want you to imagine that an accident takes place, that calcified coral has become lodged and stuck, perhaps in the blowhole of that dolphin or whale. I want you to feel that it can't be lodged out, it can't be pulled out. So I want you to feel an urge to help. And I want you to imagine, for some reason, in one of your pockets or one of your hands is vinegar. And I want you to imagine that even in the water, there is enough of that vinegar to dissolve most, if not all, of that calcified coral. And then imagine that you have a lemon or a lime. And in what remains of the coral, just imagine squeezing that lemon or lime so that the citric acid directly touches the calcified coral. Seeing the calcified coral melt away just enough for what remains of the coral to be dislodged. See the gratitude of the sea mammal, perhaps even smiling, as it returns to the surface to get air and comes back down again. And experience the gratitude of that sea mammal, that the calcification was a problem and then no longer a problem. The sea mammal is so grateful. It wants to show you something. So imagine holding on to that sea mammal, maybe by the fin, as it guides you deep towards an underwater cave. But this underwater cave has a pocket of air. And just imagine that you are now in a sea cave. And just imagine there are creatures in the sea cave that emit light. They have that bioluminescent light, meaning you can see there in the sea cave. And that there is a way to the surface. There is a hole that takes you all the way back to that sandbank. But the passageway is blocked with a stalactite and a stalagmite. Almost like two teeth, one at the top, one at the bottom, creating a block. And the only way through is to get through that calcified barrier. But again, I want you to imagine calcium dissolves with acids. And imagine that you have more of that apple cider vinegar and fresh citrus fruits. Just imagine using a combination of those citrus fruits and vinegar to dissolve the stalactite until there is sufficient space for the passageway to be navigated through. And when you imagine it dissolving, melting away, and that you go through the passageway and find yourself back there on the sandbank, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to feel that you've been on a journey to a reef, helping a mammal in need, and that the mammal took you to the cave, not to trap you, but to set you free. To know that sometimes a blockage or a barrier is not permanent. It's just a temporary reflection of a situation, something that can be changed and altered through choices. How you think, how you feel, and what you do. So feel an equal level of gratitude for that sea mammal, and feel that things are already starting to change. As you imagine deciding that while you're there on that sandbank, you might as well soak up some vitamin D as you lie there in the sun, feeling a wonderful sensation that your body is becoming healthier. And while you're there, with your eyes closed on the sandbank, soaking up the vitamin D, your mind is open to powerful suggestions. And I want you to think of calcification somewhere in your body that you don't want anymore. And as you relax deeply, imagine the calcification melting away, becoming softer and softer with every breath you take. Feel the warmth of healing energy flowing through that location, dissolving any blockages and restoring balance to your body. And I wonder what would happen if every time you drink apple cider vinegar, you consider it a powerful elixir, helping to dissolve the calcification completely. Visualize the citrus fruits you eat: lemons, limes, grapefruit, as powerful tools. Each bite breaking down and eliminating calcifications in your body. And as you breathe in and out, notice how your body eagerly absorbs the benefits of these fruits, transforming them into the energy that melts away any and all calcifications. And maybe there's growing motivation to eat the best quality citrus fruits you know, knowing that they help in your body's decalcification process. And maybe you can imagine the nourishing foods rich in vitamin K2 as allies, guiding calcium to where it belongs, strengthening your teeth and bones, and taking away calcium from any places it doesn't need to be. Every time you drink, fresh, clean water. You have that deep sense of hydration, flushing out toxins and softening any hardened areas within your body. And maybe every time you consume those omega-3 rich foods like flax seeds and walnuts, you can feel them working at a cellular level, promoting fluidity and health, perhaps in ducts, in arteries, or even in kidneys. And every now and then, when you consume those magnesium-rich foods, foods that support your body, enhancing its natural ability to break down and eliminate unnecessary calcifications, it encourages you to eat even more of those magnesium-rich foods. You've seen changes already in your body that give you enough evidence to know that your body can and does adapt. And you can know with certainty that your body has all the tools it needs to dissolve the calcification. And you are providing it with everything it requires. Feel your confidence growing as you trust in your body's ability to heal and restore. And imagine the part of your body that you want to return back to normal. As you imagine it happening like a time-lapse photography, see progress over days, weeks and months, happening in just seconds. With each passing day, visualize the calcification shrinking, becoming less and less significant until it disappears completely. So take a deep breath in and imagine you're breathing in a gentle wave of healing energy and feel it flowing through you, washing away and melting away any calcifications, and especially leaving any calcified ducts clear and free. As you focus on healthy habits, feel that your unconscious has an intention and commitment to decalcification. And you can help that along with every healthy choice you make. And imagine a specific blockage in your body starting to open, to clear. Blockages become small pathways and then bigger and bigger. Imagine shapes changing. Feel it isn't just possible, it's inevitable. As you experience a profound sense of well-being, knowing that you are working in harmony, your conscious choices empowering your unconscious to take you toward better health, equilibrium and balance in your body. That every time you choose foods rich in citric acid, K2, omega-3 and magnesium, you are actively participating in the decalcification of your body. you feel even more empowered to take control of your health, knowing that with each healthy habit, you are one step closer to completely dissolving the calcification. You do your part, your body will do the rest, as you trust in the process, knowing that your body is resilient and capable of healing, and that soon the calcification will be nothing more than a distant memory. Imagine the progress is already taking place as you feel your body floating up from that sandbank, up into the sky, and before you realize, you're staring into a globe spinning it around, seeing continents and oceans, as it's time now to return to the present moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken the most healthy, empowered, optimistic version of you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.